Hello everybody, welcome back to Firefield Junction, and once again I've got another review for you today. I hope you're all doing well. Hopefully you're all coping with the current heat quite well. It's very warm in the shed at the moment. I'm just about coping, but we're getting through it, and hopefully we'll have some cooler weather, because we could definitely use it. It's far too hot at the moment. But yeah, the current weather situation aside, we've got another Class 37 for us today. Now, yes, I know I've done loads of Class 37s, obviously mainly being the Bachmann ones, but I thought it'd be quite nice to do another one. Obviously, most of the talk at the moment is about Bachmann's brand new Bachmann 37. Well, yeah, the new 37 that Bachmann have done. Obviously, there's still talk on Akira scales one as well, which I will look at. I promise. I have said in past reviews I will be doing one of the Akira scale ones, and the one that I've got on pre-order is due in December though, so we've still got a bit of a way to go. I will at some point I will look at one of Bachmann's new 37s at some point, but they just haven't done any liveries that really interest me that much at the moment. But as soon as they do one that will be suitable for me, that I quite like, I will have a look at it for you, so I can see basically what they're like, and also so you can see what they're like as well. I was considering getting the railfreight metal sector one they recently announced in their their autumn announcements that they've just done. They announced a new Class 37 in railfreight metal sector, but as you can see, I've got one here. This is the 37-5. The one that Bachmann have announced is a 37-4. It's 37423. So for a start, that put me off a little bit, because the main reason I went for this is obviously the livery. For a start, I don't have a 37 in this livery, and it's also the first 37-5. Well, it's not the first 37-5 by Bachmann that I've got, because I do have one, but it's the first one in this in the railfreight triple grey livery. So it will complement the other 37s that I've got quite well, because I have a 37-4 in triple grey with one of the sectorization logos, and I also have a 37-2 in one of the railfreight triple grey livery sectors as well. So I thought this would be quite a nice compliment to them, so which is why one of the reasons I went for this one. So yeah, still not gonna. So yeah, there's not going to be any of the brand new Bachmann 37s turning up on the layout anytime soon, but I promise I will do one. But we've got one of the older versions. It's strange calling this an older version, because it's, in a way, it's still not, but technically this is now the older version, which is quite strange, to be honest, because it's not really that old, to be honest, is it though? But yeah, that aside, obviously the Bachmann 37, whatever version you get, really nice models either way. You can't really go wrong with them. As I've already mentioned, this one is in the railfreight triple grey livery. I really do like this livery. I know obviously it's not 100% perfect for the layout, because, well, again, I model the modern day, but I love this livery so much that I've built up a nice collection of logos in this livery, because I like it so much. And as we can see, this one is in the railfreight metals sector livery. I think there's about 6 different sectorization logos that are out there, so there's plenty to choose from. You've obviously got the metals one, there's petroleum, construction, distribution, the general sector, and the coal sector as well. So plenty of different options out there, depending which logo you like. There's plenty of options out there, so hopefully if there's a certain one you want, you should be able to get it. If we look at the end of the box, we can see it's a Class 37-5. This one is 37514 in the railfreight metal sector. 21 pin DCC ready, so that made chipping it nice and easy. And I have got a chip here, but this one, this is a Locksound V4 select decoder, so it is a sound decoder. As you can see, there's no speaker attached to it, but I will show you, because this is another reason I'm doing this video as well. It's because I thought it'd be quite nice to actually show you how to fit a decoder to one of these, and also fitting a speaker as well. Because usually with these, the speaker would come soldered to the actual decoder, but with most Bachmann 37s, well, pretty much all of them, apart from the old 8-pin versions, with these versions, fitting a speaker should be nice and easy, because somewhere on the circuit board inside, there should be a couple of tabs in there for us to solder a speaker onto, and that will then correspond with the 2 pins on the decoder that basically are for the speaker. So I will show you how to fit that decoder later. But obviously at the moment, we need to have a look at the model first. It's typical Bachmann packaging. We like this packaging is very, very good. It's definitely the best packaging in my opinion. It's definitely nice and easy to open. It protects the logo well. The packaging that Dapol and similar companies use is still good, but it is still technically the block of ice packaging. But the foam maybe can cause issues sometimes. Well, not all the time, but it can be a little bit hard getting the logo out, because the foam can be a bit of a tight fit sometimes for the block of ice. But I think this packaging is probably the best. But without dropping the logo, we can open it up and have a look. So to take out the block of ice, there we go. Need to stop dropping everything, I think. So we've got the typical stuff here, we're used to this. So we've got the Collectors Club thing there. If we just put that back in there for now. And yeah, this should be the typical stuff. So yeah, we've got the list of spare parts there, should you need to replace any, which you shouldn't really need to do, but it does happen. I promise you it does happen. And then we've got the typical general maintenance and warranty. So yeah, we've seen it plenty of times. We won't have a look at it today. But here we go. Turn it around this way. So if we just slide the sleeve off, we've got some details here. So we'll just have a look at these. There we go. So yeah, I've got the typical details there. It's got some snow plows, chain link couplings, brake hoses, electrical cables. Yeah, the typical stuff. So I'll definitely fit a few of those later. It's always nice to have those. So if we just lift this up, we can grab the logo. And we can get rid of the packaging. There we go. And here we are. And well, what is there else to say? It's fantastic. Bachmann's 37s, they are really, really good models. Even whether you get one of these versions, the old 8-pin versions, or the brand new ones, you can't really go wrong, to be honest. I know the price with the brand new ones is very questionable. But to be honest, most prices on new logos these days are questionable. But with these are about, you can get these for about £130, £140. For that amount of money, you can't go wrong. The detail, the quality, it's all there. The weight is, well, it's spot on, nice and heavy. The delivery application, it's just amazing. It's perfectly applied, it's nice and crisp. The detail is, well, it's just amazing. You've got plenty of detail all over the place. You've got sprung buffers, loads of detail on the bogies. You can see the springs, the axle boxes are painted. You've got separately fitted metal handrails by the doors. You've got beautiful moulded grills on the roof as well. Loads of rivets. The windscreen wipers are separately fitted. You've got lamp hooks as well. It's just amazing. You really can't go wrong with these. I won't go into as much detail with this one because, again, I've looked at so many Bachmann 37s. There's no point going through the same thing over and over again. I probably won't do any more of these versions after this because I know I've done them so many times. You'll probably getting quite bored of them. But you just can't go wrong with them. They're such excellent models. They're just so nice. Obviously, the mechanism in these is top notch as well. You can't really ask for a better mechanism. All-wheel pickup, all-wheel drive. Nice big motor in the centre, twin flywheels, directional lighting in both directions. You've got cab lights as well. You've obviously got the driver as well. You just can't go wrong. These models are fantastic. I would highly recommend these to anyone. If you don't have a Bachmann 37, you just need to get one because just look at them. Just look at this. You can't go wrong. There's just nothing bad about these models. I just don't really know what to say. I know I would consider myself an expert on these, to be honest, because I've got so many of them, and I just don't know what to say. I don't think I need to say anything else, to be honest. But before we put her on the track, well, saying that, obviously she is still analog at the moment. She is still DC. She does need a decoder. So what we'll do is we'll put her on the track. We'll run her on DC to start with because that's what she is. I'll give her a quick running in as well. I'll give her about 15 minutes to each direction because she is second hand, but she has been ran before. So about 15 to 20 minutes in each direction should be fine. We'll get her running, get her warmed up, get some lubrication around the mechanism. Then after that, we'll take the body off. I'll show you how to fit the decoder and fit a speaker, and then we can see what she's really like. So let's get her on the track and get her running in. Okay, so here we are. I've gone to a slightly different area of the layout today so that we haven't got any trains that are parked up in the way. So I've gone to here so it's a little bit more open. So we should get a nice, better view of the loco today. We won't have a 158 or anything in the foreground like we usually do on the inner loop. But if we just grab the loco and we can put her on. There we go, nice and easy. So if we just give her a bit of a wiggle. Oh, beautiful, really, really smooth. And back the other way. Oh, excellent. Now the lights aren't flickering, the camera just makes it look like that, but I promise they are stable. They're definitely not flickering. If we just go back the other way again. Oh, excellent. Really, really good. A bit noisy, but again, with the standard Hormey controller, locos usually are. But once she's chipped, she should be much, much better. And hopefully then the lights won't appear as they're flickering, because for some reason when a loco's DCC, my camera doesn't seem to pick up the lights flickering. Then they seem to be stable, so that's a bit strange, but oh well. But obviously now we need to get the loco running in, because well, I'm not sure if she hasn't ran in a while. She might have ran recently, but I'm not too sure. But I'll give her about 15 minutes in each direction, get some oil around all the gears, and then we'll come back and we'll get her chipped. So let's get her running in. And there we have Fada going in the right direction. Well, I think you'll agree that on DC she's performing very well. Really, really smooth, constant speed. Overall, no major complaints. But I think what she's DCC sound, I think she'll be much better. But anyway, we'll leave her to run in and warm up, and then we can fit the chip. Okay, so here we are. The loco has been nicely run in. She's running nice and smoothly. So we can now finally fit the decoder to her. Now, removing the body on these Bachmann 37s, on these versions anyway, well, it's actually the same for all versions, apart from the newer versions. But for these versions, the 21-pin versions and the old 8-pin versions, it's just 6 screws. There's 2 around the centre. It's 1 here, and then 2 at each end, and that's it. And once they're out, the body nice and easily comes off, like so. There's no wires, it's all just spring-loaded contacts, so body removal is nice and easy. On the brand new Bachmann 37s, I believe it's just 8 screws. It just means there's 1 more in the middle on each side, but it's pretty much exactly the same. However, on the brand new versions, there are also wires connecting the body to the chassis, but I do believe it's all just plugs connecting those together. So you can still remove the body quite easily on those, but it is easier on these versions because, again, it is all just spring-loaded contacts. But once the body's off, we can see how she is inside. So we've got the circuit board in the centre here. It's a 21-pin DCC socket that's inside these versions. Obviously, on the older versions, it's an 8-pin socket, but there's still less wires inside because the older 8-pin versions, they don't have any tail lights. And they also don't, I believe they don't have any areas on the circuit board for a speaker either. So there's less wires inside the older versions, but obviously with these newer versions, with all the lighting, features and everything, there is more wires inside. I will just check the wires actually, because I have just noticed a couple of them do look like they've been slightly damaged by the body screws where they've been screwed in at the factory. Especially this one over here, if you can see. I'm not sure how you can see, but it has been a little bit squished because it's actually been where the body has gone on. The wire has been squashed down right between the lights there actually, so that's not very good. but it does look like the wire itself is actually okay, so hopefully there's no major issues there, but that's a little bit of a quality issue. But I suppose with how these are wired up, that it's almost inevitable, but it hasn't happened with any of my other Bachmann 37s. So that's a bit of a shame actually. We will try and fix that quickly. If we just try and lift the wire out of there, if we try and get a bit more length on it, and if we then put it around where it should be, if it's going to go that far, it doesn't look like it's going to go where we want it to actually. No, it doesn't want to. We'll have to leave it there then. But again, the wire looks to be okay, and all the lights were working as far as I can remember, so hopefully everything should be okay there. Yeah, hopefully there won't be any issues when the body goes back on. But if one of the lights at this end doesn't work, then we'll know why. But hopefully, hopefully everything should be fine. Now, the speaker connections on this version are a bit different to what I've seen in the past, probably just due to the age of this model, because I'm not entirely sure how old this exact one is, but it might be closer to the start when Bachmann started doing these 21-pin versions, because usually I think on the newer 21-pin versions, the speaker connections are actually on the outside of the circuit board along the edge here somewhere, but on these ones, they're slap bang in the middle at this end. Just there, hopefully you can see there, there's some connections there. That is where the speaker needs to go to. But before we do that, we will just take out the 21-pin blanking plate. Now to do this, I highly recommend just grabbing a flathead screwdriver and just gently prising it out at each end, because if you do try to be quite rough with it, you will damage the pins, and trust me, if that does happen, it's a bit of a pain realigning them, because I have done it a couple of times on a couple of different models, and it is a bit of a headache trying to realign the pins, so you really don't want to do it. But if you have patience, just gently ease it out, and there we go, it comes out nice and easily. So then we can grab the sound decoder, and again, the 21-pin decoders, they can only go in one way round, so the decoder needs to go in this way. So just make sure all of the pins are lined up, and then we can push the decoder in. There we go. So that should be okay there. We shouldn't have any problems. There we go. So that should be everything we need to do for that. But obviously next, we need to wire in the speaker. Now the speaker I've chosen for this, it's one of the 25 by 25 by 7 mega bass speakers. This is, in my opinion, one of the best speakers that you can fit to these models, at least easily. There are better speakers that you can fit to these 37s, but they do require a bit more work. But as a fairly simple upgrade, these speakers, they do perform amazingly well. A couple of my other 37s have them fitted, and the sound is really, really good. You really can't go wrong with these. But before we can actually wire the speaker in, we need to actually apply some solder. So if we just grab the soldering iron with a bit of solder, just give the tip a clean. There we go, so that should be fine. Then if we just apply a bit of solder to each of the tabs on the circuit board. Ooh. There we go. And do a bit over this side as well. Ooh. There we go, that should be fine. And if we apply a little bit to, actually I will just shorten the wire on this speaker actually, because there is quite a large area that hasn't got any insulation on it. So I'll just cut it down slightly, because we don't want it to make contact with any other areas on the circuit board. There we go, that should be better. Then if we just tin the speaker as well. Ooh. Not sure what it is with this soldering iron, but none of the solder actually wants to stick to it for some reason, which is a little bit strange. There we go. So we can put the solder to one side now, and we can very easily just solder in the speaker wires. Actually, if I'll turn the loco around, we do it this way, because the speaker is going to go at this end here. So if we just wire it in. Ooh. There we go, that's one. And if we do the other one as well. And there we are. That's all we need to do, nice and easy. So if we just spin the loco back round, we can then just wrap the wire around like that. And then we can then secure the speaker in at this end here. Then the body can go back on. We do have to do a little bit more modification because the speaker won't fit in perfectly with the fan in. So we also have to take the fan out and re-secure the fan itself just with a bit of black tack in the ceiling. So I'll quickly go away and finish everything off, and I'll come back and we can then see what the sound's like. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so here we are, everybody. I've finished doing everything that needs to be done. The speaker, as you can see, has been secured in place. It's just got a few bits of black tack. I'm holding it into the chassis, so we shouldn't get any vibrating noises, and hopefully nothing will come loose. Everything should stay where it is. And I've also finished doing the fan. Now what I've done is I've taken out the fan mounting, because if you do want to fit this speaker, you do have to do that, because again it won't fit in with the fan mounting still in place. Then using a few pieces of black tack, I've then I've then black tacked the fan basically to the top of the body there, where it shouldn't interfere with the speaker, but at least then we still get to have the fan bit there, so we're not just seeing straight through the grill, so we can't see the speaker underneath. So it just adds, it just keeps the realism there, I suppose. I've also removed the old screw, the plastic screw, where one of the screws from the fan mounting screwed into the body, just there. I've removed that as well, just so there's definitely no chances of anything clashing when the body goes back on. Now you might not have to do that, but I usually do it, so just so that definitely nothing's going to clash, nothing's going to get damaged. As a matter of fact, I will just remove the other one as well. Again, you don't have to do it, but it just means that nothing's going to clash. Well, the fan mounting is never going to go back in again, because there's always going to be a speaker in there. Well, again, you might not have to do it, because again, you might take the sound chip out one day, or you might change the speaker for something smaller. It depends what you're after, really. But with all that done, we can finally put the body back on. Again, it should go back on nice and easily. Yeah, there we go. And the last thing to do is to just put all of the screws back in. So I get everything screwed back together, and then we can finally see what it's like. Now, something I've just remembered actually, is I have already tested the decoder and everything and the sound to make sure it all works. And I told a bit of a lie earlier. It's actually a Locksound V5 select that's actually in here, which is a bit strange because the chip was purchased off eBay, where I have purchased quite a few of my decoders from, and it was listed as a Locksound V4 select, and it does actually say on the decoder LS4. So maybe that's where the seller got the Locksound 4 from. I'm not too sure, but it is one of the Locksound V5 selects, which you get. Well, you got in the previous factory sound versions of the Bachmann 37. So that's a bit of a plus. It's a better decoder with a slightly better sound file and a few more features. So no complaints there. But yeah, we'll screw everything back together now, and then we can see what the sound is like. So I'll see you in a second once again. Okay, so here we are. So as we can see, the body has been screwed back on. I very quickly just tested the lighting as well to make sure that that damaged wire hadn't been damaged even further when the body's gone back on. And it does seem to be fine. All of the lights are still working, so we don't seem to have any issues, which is good. But if we just put the lights on so we can see them, there we go. So they're looking very good. And as you can see, now that she's DCC, the camera isn't picking them up as flickering, which is, again, is a bit strange. I'm not too sure why it does that, but oh well. Yeah, a bit weird, but we'll carry on. And if we change direction again, and we can see we've got the tail lights there as well. And again, they're not too bad. I say there are locos out there that do have worse tail lights than that. And again, and the LEDs in there are quite small. And there are worse locos. The V-Trains Class 37 is quite famous for this. The tail lights are barely visible. But on the Bachmann 37s, they're very, very good lights. But if we just give the loco a bit of a wiggle. Oh, yes. Very, very good. Very smooth. Very quiet. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this. Now the decoder still needs programming. It still needs its address and everything done. So she's still on the default 03 at the moment. But the factory settings on these decoders usually are very, very good. You rarely have to change any of them, apart from the address and maybe the acceleration or whatever. Most of the time, the factory settings on the decoders are quite good. There's a bit of warmth coming through from the decoder, but you usually do get that. Decoders do get quite warm. Some of them get hotter than others. Some of them I find warm up quicker than others. This one doesn't seem to be too bad at the moment, but hopefully it should be fine. And if we just try a few of the sounds, we'll do a couple of the horns. Yeah, that's very, very good. And the other horn. Excellent. And if we change direction, with the Lock Sound V5 Select decoders, that you get in the factory sound models. Well, not in Bachmann's newest versions, because the Bachmann's new 37 comes with a Zimmo sound decoder, so it's a different sound file. But with the previous factory sound Bachmann 37s that use this decoder, you get different horns in each direction, which is quite nice. And some of you might know that those horns are the original horns from the Lock Sound V4, and I believe the 3.5 decoders as well, and those are the standard horns that you got in either direction. But with these decoders, you get different horns in each direction, which is quite nice. It's fairly realistic as well, because you don't always get the same horn every time, so that's quite nice. But if we fire up the engine, very, very good. Nice quality sound. We've got some nice bass performance as well. So with this speaker, again, if you do decide to upgrade the speaker in your model, in your factory sound model, from because the standard speakers that you get aren't very good, so they are pretty rubbish. If you do decide to use this speaker, you won't be disappointed. It's a really, really good speaker. Definitely one of the best for the Bachmann 37s. The volume, I think, could use turning up a bit, because it is quite quiet. So I will turn it up at some point. But overall, really, really good. But I think all we need to do now is get it running and see what the sound is like. Well, I think you'll agree that this is one fantastic model. Now, I know it's probably not the best and most accurate review ever that I've done. To be honest, not a lot of my reviews are, because I do tend to show you how to fit decoders, and I usually a lot of my opinion comes from after I fit the sound and everything, and not always from the model that I actually start off with. But the Bachmann 37s, it doesn't matter if they're analog or DCC or DC sound, whichever they are, they're amazing. You just can't go wrong with them. They really are fantastic. And as you can see, fitting sound to them, it's not too hard. I know for some people out there, it does seem like quite a daunting task, and even what I've just shown you may feel quite daunting. But it just goes to show, to get really, really amazing quality sound and, well, decent sound overall, it doesn't take a lot of work. It is quite simple to do. But if you want a Bachmann 37, you just need to get one, because they're fantastic. Really, really amazing models.